Peace, peace, peace. What's up, y'all? Today, I'm making a video in the car. And I know the angle ain't the best. The audio might not be the greatest. But it's the information that matters to me when I'm watching videos. So right now, that's really all I'm looking to do is give y'all information. So in the future, production is going to go up. Quality is going to go up. Everything like that. But right now, I just got to get the information out there. You feel me? So, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to title this video, but it's going to be something along the lines of how to use Planetary Magick every day. You see, there's all different kinds of magic, and, I'm expecting people who are watching this to have a good base understanding of, metaphysics, magic, and how to manifest reality, right? Quick rundown, we're all manifesting reality. We all are a part of manifested reality. And basically to manifest is to create, right? Create consciously, create subconsciously. Because we are all co-creators of creation, right? So, as an alchemist, which is something that I would identify I practice is alchemy. Also, shout out to Brother Yosef with the solar medallion. So as an alchemist, I work with archetypical energies, and I learn how to transmute energy that I receive, right? And so by being in alignment with archetypical energies or energies that are already present, I can use that energy to essentially manifest more efficiently and effectively. So for me, there are some so-called deities that I've contacted and I work with. But for me, I like to look at things as a scientist, right? And so the planets are a great way for someone like me to get a lot of work done, because the planets are archetypical forces. They're also called the Titans, right? And so these archetypical forces are manifestations of different deities, or you could do that vice versa, that deities are manifestations of the planets, right? What's important to understand is that each of these planets have distinct qualities, symbols, and I guess you could say personalities that enable someone to work with them. And these planets, even when they're pushed out of the collective consciousness, are always going to shine through because they have such a impactful, influence on humanity as a whole. So I think that's a good introduction. So this is a great entry point. We actually worship, not necessarily worship, but we acknowledge the planets every single day. And when I say planets, I'm talking about celestial bodies, right? The prime example is the names of the days of the week, right? You could start from anywhere, but the most common place that people start the week is Sunday or Monday. And Sunday is the most obvious example. Sunday is the day of the sun. After that, you have Monday, Moon Day. Then it goes on further to Tuesday, which is Tyr's Day. Tyr is a Martian deity. So Tuesday, Tyr's Day, is the day of Mars. And then you have Wednesday, Woden's Day, which is Odin. And Odin is a deity of Mercury, right? So Wednesday is Mercury's day. Now Thursday is Thor's day, which which is Jupiter. And the reason that these are named after European or Celtic deities is that when Christianity and the Crusades happened and they were essentially destroying pagans and all cultures that didn't align with Christianity, they had to somehow adapt all of these practices and the collective consciousness into that paradigm, because things can't be so abrupt. They have to sort of subtly be changed. And so yeah, those days of worship turned into the 7-day week that we know today. Same thing with the pagan holidays. They merged with Christian holidays. Yeah, anyway. So Thursday, Thor's Day. This is the day of Jupiter. And then we have Friday, Freya Day. Frigg. This is Venus. Freya is the goddess of love. Very popular deity. And, she's actually been reaching out to me lately, so I'm thinking I'm going to make some contact with her. But yeah, and then you have Saturday, which is another pretty obvious one. You feel me? I feel like Tuesday, Wednesday are the kind of harder ones to understand. But yeah, so you have Sunday, which is the sun, Monday, which is the moon, Tuesday, which is Mars, Wednesday, which is Mercury, Thursday, which is Jupiter, Friday, which is Venus, and Saturday, which is Saturn, right? So, unbeknownst to you, you've actually been working with these energies already. But now that we're going to do it consciously, it's going to become much more effective. Okay, so, think about. Also, to understand the science, you just want to research into the planets in general. And we know that there are more celestial bodies than these 7, but these are the 7 that are closest to the sun or closest to consciousness. So we're going to use these to work our magic, right? Unconsciously, our day is designed in such a way to work with these energies, but not necessarily in a way that serves us. For example, Monday. It is super, super common if you work a job for someone else that employees are miserable. Let's just get that off the bat. And a thing that you'll hear them say is, I hate Mondays. And man, that is a curse. You see, because Mondays, the moon representing your subconscious, the moon representing the individualized personality, to despise Moon Day and to be grudging through it is really putting a detrimental force against your own energy. Me personally, as you might say I sound corny, and that might just be my insecurity, but I love Mondays. Not only is things pretty chill, things are pretty quiet down, but those are the days where I just feel very secure and comfortable in myself, and like taking off a Monday and having that Monday to do what you want to do is a perfect self-care day, yeah, if you got a full moon that falls on a Monday, that full moon, that lunar energy is going to be extra potent that day. Here's a positive manifestation of how the weeks are laid out. With Friday, Freya Day, Venus, right? Fridays is the end of the so-called week, right? Even though let it be our strength, but it's the end of the so-called week. And on Fridays, that's usually where people get together. Well, that's the natural energy of Venus. Venus is relationships. Venus is coming together, attraction, right? So you find that people often gather on Fridays, So the magic, the planetary magic that we can use is essentially organizing our day in a way that is going to serve us the most. Or not necessarily our day, but our whole week. We can choose specific things that we're going to do on specific days so that we're in alignment with the energy that's already present. For example, I am a martial artist. The main days that I be training, I like to train on Fridays because that's where people get together. So there's a lot of growth on those days. But Tuesday, the day of Mars, is where I like to practice my martial arts, right? Martial arts is a gift from Mars. And so, naturally, on a Tuesday, I'm already invigorated with that actionable energy. With that warrior energy. It's already present, so it's super easy for me to train and have a good training day on a Tuesday. Another example, on Thursday, I still train, but I focus on my energy work, right? Because that's in alignment with Thor, with that electrifying Jupiterian energy, that lightning, right? I'm working with my EMF field through energy work. There's a million different ways that you could really organize your day to be in alignment with these energies, One of the first things that you learn as a magician is how to work with the moon cycle, right? There's different kinds of cycles. You have a solar cycle, a galactic cycle, a lunar cycle. You want to look at these repeating patterns because you can use them to your benefit. And the one we're talking about is the week cycle. I hate that word. They call it a week for a reason. And the weekend is really meant to be a strong beginning. But using that ideology, you're subconsciously interpreting the word weekend. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm still figuring out the Rasta version of week. You feel me? So if you know it, comment below some different wording that I can use, I'd like to say 7 day cycle, but that'd be such a mouthful. It's impractical, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so there's infinite ways that you could organize different cycles to benefit your magic. With the lunar cycle, most people know in a dark moon, when you have a new moon, it's a portal. That's when you want to impregnate it with thought forms, with intentions, you feel me? And by the time that full moon comes around, you're harvesting the seed that you planted, you feel me? And sometimes it doesn't happen in one cycle, but you'll notice the seeds you planted a new moon 3 months ago come back around, also month, moon, anyway, come back around a couple months later during that full moon, So you can work with the lunar energy as a cycle, or what I'm recommending to you now is to also implement the 7 day cycle. So you can start your cycle on whatever you want. In my opinion, I like to start on Monday, right? Sunday being the birth of consciousness or the birth of light, you feel me? A Sunday is a day that I dedicate to purifying myself. It's a great day for solar work, of course, but a Sunday is a day where, that's a day where you could clean your home. You really want to start off strongly. So when you start off with a clean environment, you have a clean mind, because your external reflects your internal. Your home is going to reflect your mind. If your home is messy, your mind is most likely messy. If your home is clean and organized, your thoughts are very organized. So a Sunday is the day where I will perform cleansings, purification rituals, cleaning my home physically, cleaning my body, everything, to make a space feel at peace, right? And to feel pure. All the dust that has settled has been swept away, and now we have a clean blank slate on this Sunday, right? So Sundays is how I like to start this 7 day cycle. On a Monday is a day of emotion, okay? And so on Mondays, I'm sorry, I'm in traffic, so I'm a little bit distracted. I think this guy just hit this other guy. Anyway, Mondays are days of emotion. This is a great day to be performing rituals, you feel me? shadow work on a Monday, and you can also work with the lunar cycle on this day that could kind of determine what kind of magic or what kind of work you're going to do at all, because everything that we do is magic. Magic is just science we don't understand, right? Or don't understand fully. Yes, and so going from Sunday to Monday to Tuesday is a day of action. So Sunday, clean slate. Monday is basically a day of setting intention, right? Sunday is a day of purifying intention. Monday is a day of setting intention. Tuesday is the day of taking action on your intentions. Tuesday is a day of action. Tuesday, you got to get something done, man. Oh, woman, who, man. You got to get something done on a Tuesday, because that energy is there for you to write and take advantage of if you're ready, if you really want to. You feel me? So you plant your seeds on a Monday, and you do the actions necessary for that to fruit Tuesday. Now, Wednesday is a day I like to research. Tuesday, I put in my work. I got the things done as I need to, and Wednesday is the day where I'm going to study further. Wednesday is a day of connection, of business. It's Mercury's day. You feel me? So Mercury is often a day where I will receive messages from spirit. Mercury or Wednesday is often a day where I'll receive inspiration or more information that has to do with my purpose or the intentions that I planned in on Monday, right? And so Wednesday is a day of communion, of connection, of information, right? And so with what you with what you gathered on Wednesday, Thursday is a day of expansion. You want to expand upon the intentions, upon the magic, upon the work that you've been doing throughout the week, right? Throughout the 7-day cycle. Thursday is a day where those things will expand. Thursday, like I said, is the day of Thor. And Thor, to my understanding, is the aspect of the human body that is the heart's electromagnetic field. You feel me? Thor's day. And so on that day, you can put energy further into your intentions and expand the ideas, the projects, the magic that you've been doing. You know? After expansion, you have attraction, right? Friday, Freya day. Venus day, free. Freya, free. There's a reason that these words are etymologically so close together, right? On a Venus day, you'll see your ideas coming together, right? The things that you were maybe illusionary, I don't know if that's a word. Things that you were perceived as lacking, but really weren't, might manifest themselves and appear to you on a Friday. Things come together on a Friday. The energy is so actionable, not actionable necessarily, but it's so high vibrational on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's so happy on a Friday. The so-called work week is over with. People get to go home and relax. They don't have to worry about, getting up early on a Saturday unless you hustling like me, get that money. You get what I'm saying? But a Friday is when that energy gonna come together, right? And so a Saturday is when those intentions, those seeds that you've planted come down to earth. Saturn day, Saturn. A lot of people demonize Saturn, right? And for some good reasons. But at the same time, when you really get to know Saturn, it becomes your friend if you're disciplined, right? Because Saturn has so many different aspects. It's considered the great elder of the 7 titans. In some occult schools, they'll teach you that Saturn was the original sun. It was the black star. You see, Saturn, in my understanding, created this universe. This realm of suffering was created with Satan. Not that Saturn and Satan are the same, but they are the similar emanations of light. We'll say it that way. And I don't want to be going on a tangent about Saturn, but it's important to understand that Saturn is a materialization, right? The reason we suffer is because we are in material bodies in a material realm. Suffering exists here because this is a realm of matter, ma'at, right? And so Saturn, when you learn how to work with Saturn in a positive manner, because Saturn, yes, rules so-called karma and boundaries, but see, if you're working with Saturn correctly, karma is your friend. You see, your karma is momentum of energy. The momentum, the intentions that you put in at the beginning of the week on Sunday come back to you on Saturday. Saturn Day is a beautiful day. It is the day where we harvest our fruits, right? Saturday is a day where, people come together. Friday, the next day, that's where the magic happened. You feel me? Friday, everyone got off work. They just living, right? Saturday is where it really go down. You feel me? And so, once you've realized, which started as light and ended in matter, started as light on a Sunday, ended in matter on a Saturday, you realize, wow, I really set my intentions, put the work in, studied, grew and expanded, and brought together my vision and material reality using the 7 planets of the week. You feel me? Of the strong, because the weak are ignorant while the strong are aware. So instead of having a weak end, let the weak end and have strength. I'm just chatting. You feel me? This video getting kind of long, but I think I got the idea out to y'all. So now you should know, if you weren't already, how to use each day of the 7-day cycle to your advantage in Planetary Magick. Amazing. Thank y'all, family. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank y'all for letting me chat through traffic. And I'm going to catch y'all later. Have a blessed day. Peace.